Your other option, if you don't want to break the line that way, would be to leave an empty line in between, and that would also create a line break. We talked about this in the last tutorial though. Notice it looks odd because this new line right here is starting a new paragraph and it's indented, versus this line up here did not. This line up here is not indented, so that's why it looks a bit funny there. So I usually, and it just depends on what you need, but I usually do something like this when I want line breaks. And generally, if I want displayed fractions, display style fractions, rather than typing out display style, I just do \dfrac. But I did get an error when I tried that a moment ago. Let's try it again. Not that I'm expecting anything different. 2/3. And I just have to figure out which package I need to use in order to get that to work properly. So I'm going to go back up to the top and really quickly just figure this out. Use package, and let's go with AMS Math. I'm gonna use a couple packages here because I don't want to do them one at a time and try and figure this out. AMS Math, AMS Sim, and AMS Fonts. Okay, one of those worked because now it did compile correctly. And oh, that was unnecessary because I had double dollar signs. Let me try that one more time, because the double dollar signs automatically put it in displayed math mode, so it's kind of redundant that I used defrac inside of double dollar signs. It's not necessary to do that. Let's just try this again and verify that we are getting a large fraction here when we use defrac. Yep. And I need a line break there. Okay, so you can accomplish the same thing this way and this way. Let's try a more complicated fraction. So I'm going to do a line break here again. No, I'll go ahead and put it in double dollar signs, so this isn't technically necessary. Let's do this. Let's do a square root inside of our fraction. So let's do the square root of x plus 1 over the square root of x plus 2. So we'll start with fraction, like so. In the numerator, we want the square root of x plus 1. So backslash square root, like so, x plus 1. That's my numerator. Then here is my denominator. So we're going to do square root x plus 2. And then close our dollar signs. And there we go. So I did use, TeXMaker to my advantage there. I wasn't typing it all out manually. Let's try that one more time. If I were typing it out manually, backslash frac, your curly bracket, then slash square root. You have to open another curly bracket. So at this time, you have to kind of mentally keep track that you have 2 curly brackets open, and eventually you need to close the 2 curly brackets. So x plus 1, close it for the square root, close it for the numerator. Then we open curly brackets for the denominator, backslash square root, open curly bracket for the square root, x plus 2, close the square root, close the denominator, and then close math mode. And there we go. Now, sometimes we work with complex fractions where you have a fraction inside of a fraction. So let's try that. So outside fraction, and let's do that. You can, of course, have fractions. Now, sometimes we work with complex fractions where you have a fraction inside of a fraction. So let's try that. So outside fraction, and let's do 1 over, so just 1 in the numerator, that's it. And then in the denominator, let's do 1 plus 1 over x. So 1 plus, and now I need a fraction. So backslash frac 1 over x, like so. 1 over 1 plus 1 over x. And you can, of course, have fractions inside of fractions inside of fractions. You just want to pay attention to your brackets, make sure that they're paired. And like I showed you a moment ago, sometimes it is helpful to space things out. So my denominator here had a bunch of stuff in it. You might find it's helpful to kind of leave lots of space in the curly brackets for the denominator so that if you do get a compiling error, you can go back and see that's probably where it would have occurred because you've got, complicated things inside of other things. So that can be helpful as well. That wraps up this tutorial on common math notation. I do have another tutorial on calculus notation, which will be much more involved. There's lots of notation that we use in calculus that we need to use LaTeX for because you can't type a lot of the calculus notation using your keyboard. But in the next tutorial, before we do that, the next tutorial, we're going to look at brackets, tables, and arrays. So brackets include things like parentheses and square brackets and curly brackets and absolute value symbols. We're going to see how to make those things expand in size, because if you just type parentheses, let me show you real quick, right here around this it's going to look really bad. Well, actually, it doesn't look too terrible, but the 1 over x here is longer vertically than the parentheses. So we're going to see how you can fix that, make your parentheses taller so that they do wrap around the content inside of the parentheses. And then we will look at tables. We'll do a simple table, we'll do a slightly more complex table, and then we'll look at some arrays. Hello. I'm Michelle Crummel, and in this video we are going to look at how to typeset brackets, tables, and arrays using LaTeX. I'm working in TeXmaker, but you can work in any text editor. That you like, or you can work online in Overleaf, and there are links in the description below to register for an Overleaf account if you want to just work in your web browser. So we have lots of different type of bracketing symbols when we use math notation, but probably the most popular would be parentheses, square brackets, and curly brackets. So let's start there. If you have a short object, then you don't need to do anything special for parentheses. Let's say, for example, the distributive property states that A times, and notice I did use a dollar symbol to enter math mode, A times B plus C equals A times B plus A times C for all A, B, C. I can get fancy here with my notation if I want. I can use the element symbol or the \n, and then if I want to say the set of real numbers, then there's a special way to type that symbol as well, \mathbb, curly brackets, and then for the set of all real numbers I need a capital R. Now I think I'm going to have to load a special package to make this work. Let's see if I get a compiling error. I do. Okay, so let's come back up here in my preamble. Everything before begin document is called the preamble, and I'm going to use a package. Let's see, AMS fonts, AMS sim, AMS math. I always load those 3 packages right off the bat, so to be honest with you, I don't even remember which one of the 3 I need. It's only one of those 3 that I need to make this mathbb command work. I'm just so in the habit of using all 3 packages all the time, so I don't remember which one does what. Okay, but that worked, and we can see the result here, the distributed property states. And so here we have this in math mode, a times b plus c. The parentheses look good. They are sized appropriately for what's inside. Equals ab plus ac for all a, b, and c in the set of real numbers. Now square brackets work in a similar way. You can just type them using your keyboard. So let's use a line break here. There's a couple ways to do a line break. I like to do the double backslash and then insert a little bit of extra space. There are lots of other ways to get spacing between your lines, things that you can do in your preambles so that you don't have to do this every single time. You can change the line spacing throughout your whole document, but that's a little more complicated and we're trying to keep things really simple for right now. So I'm just going to do that. And next we'll say the equivalence class of A, I'm putting A in math mode, is, and then we'll use square brackets around the A there, and I will typeset that. So I'm just using F1 on my keyboard because that's a keyboard shortcut for TeXmaker to compile. Otherwise, I could also come up here and click this arrow. Okay, so the equivalence class of A is A, and you can see the square brackets appear as expected. A is just a normal sized element, so the brackets don't need to be larger, smaller, they're sized appropriately. Okay, this does look a little weird though because the first sentence is indented and the second one is not. This double backslash creates a soft return. It doesn't start a new paragraph, and so this sentence that I have here is not considered a new paragraph and it is not indented. I'm not in the habit of worrying about that because I almost always turn off indenting in my documents. So I'm going to come back up into the preamble. It's the area before begin document. I'm going to type /par indent. This is going to change the rules for paragraph indenting. And I'm going to say 0px. So indent my paragraphs by 0 pixels. In other words, don't indent my paragraphs. And then I'll recompile. And you can see that none of my lines are indented. That's just my preference, the way that I like to work. You certainly don't have to do that. Now let's take a look at curly brackets. So parentheses, easy, you just type them on your keyboard. Square brackets, easy, just type them on your keyboard. Curly brackets, not quite so easy. We'll say the set A is defined to be, and then we'll just call A the set of the numbers 1, 2, 3. So curly bracket, 1, 2, 3, curly bracket, close math mode, and then compile. What did I do wrong here? Forgot my square bracket in front. Let's try that again. Okay. Now I didn't get the result I expected because I typed curly brackets around this set, but the curly brackets didn't show up on my PDF. And that's because the curly bracket is a symbol that is reserved for part of the coding in LaTeX. That is a special symbol that tells the compiler something. And so you can't just type a curly bracket and get it to show up. You have to do something different. If you want the curly bracket to show up, you type a backslash in front of it. And that's true for this opening curly bracket and also the closing curly bracket. You put a backslash in front of it, and now when we compile, the symbols will show in the PDF. So the compiler knows that this is not the symbols will show in the PDF. So the compiler knows that this is not the coding curly bracket is actually one that needs to be displayed. Now another symbol that is reserved for special syntax in LaTeX is the dollar symbol, and we've seen that many times so far. The $ is used to indicate that we're starting math mode, but sometimes you might want to display a $, right? If we're talking about money. So for example, the movie ticket costs $11.50. Okay, so right away I know that I have a problem here because this has turned green. This has turned green. So the compiler thinks that I've opened math mode and I have not closed math mode. Well, I can close it here, and that's a little better. We're back to normal down here. But now clearly the $, this $, is not going to be displayed because this is just telling me that I'm in math mode. So let's compile that, and I don't see the $. So if you want to see a $, well, first of all, if we type an extra one inside math mode, we're going to have issues. That confuses the compiler. So if you want to display the $, you just type a backslash in front of it. Same with the curly bracket. And now when we compile, it knows, oh, this $ is meant to be displayed, and so it will print it on our PDF, and we've got $11.50. Now sometimes you want to put brackets, whether they're parentheses or square brackets or curly brackets or absolute value symbols or some other symbols, greatest integer symbols, that type of thing. Sometimes you want to put those around notation that is much bigger, taller. So let me show you what I mean by that. And here I'm just going to do a hard return here. And let's type this fraction. I'm going to do double $signs to give me displayed math mode. So it's going to put this math on its own line, centered on the page. And I'm going to type a fraction. So my fraction is going to be 1 over x squared minus 1. Here's my fraction, 1 over x squared minus 1. Let's say I want to put parentheses around that. I don't know why, maybe there's a 2 in front of it. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, that looks pretty bad. The parentheses are not tall enough. They're not surrounding the information inside of the parentheses. Now, if I wasn't in displayed math mode, it would be a little better. So instead of double $signs, let me go back to single $signs and show you. It's a little bit better. It's still not perfect. The parentheses still don't seem to be tall enough to cover what's inside of them. So it's not just because I'm in displayed math mode that that's an issue, but it's more pronounced when you're in displayed math mode. How can we fix that? Well, we can make the parentheses automatically change in size to fit whatever's inside of them by typing, go to your parentheses where they start. So your left parenthesis, I think, is the singular of parentheses. Go to your left parenthesis and type \left in front of it. And then go to the right parenthesis and type \right in front of that one. And now let's compile that. And you can see that they've automatically expanded. To an appropriate size. That looks much better. So this works with lots of different bracketing symbols. I'm just going to copy this a couple of times, and we're going to change the parentheses to square brackets. Square bracket, square bracket, and curly bracket. Now remember, to get the curly bracket to show up, you have to put a \, in front of it. And compile, and there we go. where we type a backslash left or a backslash right in front of it. Let's do slash right to get it to be larger. Now, when I try and compile this, I'm going to get an error because when you use a slash right command, you have to have a matching slash left and vice versa. So when you do slash left, you need a slash right. But I don't want a symbol to show up on the left. We can get around that though. I'm going to go ahead and type the slash left. And then in order to tell it to not display a symbol, I'm just going to use a period. Just type a period on your keyboard and it won't display that. So now the notation looks proper.